an aggressive AJ that comes forward, tight guard, will give Wilder problems and he will shock people.
This is Jonathan Aguilar, fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by heavyweight Jeamie TKV, who's out next Saturday on the Caroline Dubois card at York Hall. Jeamie, you're back in the UK, obviously you had some time stateside. How was that experience for you? What's the biggest thing you learned out there?
It was a great experience. I mean, just learning from what the others do, the guys who are on top of their game, and how Derek James coaches his fighters, you know, and to take what the fighters do with their camp, bring it back home and do it within your camp. So it was just interesting to see, you know, very knowledgeable, and to be around a certain set of people. It was really good. It was really good.
In terms of when you're training out there, and obviously you've got trainers here with Ben and Barry Smith and stuff like that, how does it work in terms of communicating with them and telling them like what you've been doing?
Literally just a phone call. Literally just tell them what I'm doing, and they tell me what I should be doing, especially in sparring and stuff like that. So just a phone call, brief, like we just quick brief phone calls, and then update them later on.
In terms of Anthony Joshua, obviously you did two camps there, Franklin and the Hellenius camp. What improvements did you notice in yourself between the two camps?
I did the Franklin and Dillian Whyte camp, but obviously when Hellenius came, he got in like a few sparring partners for the last week. Like he was very aggressive for the Dillian Whyte camp, personally. He was very, very aggressive. But I believe when the opponent changed, the fact that the opponent changed, he had to change game plan. So I guess that was the difficult thing, and he only had 1 week to change the game plan.
But in terms of yourself, how did you notice you improving from the Franklin camp to the second camp with AJ?
No, definitely there was improvement. There was more confidence with the camp, you know. So yeah, I definitely saw improvements for sure within myself.
They always say that training in America is a lot different to training here in terms of sparring. Obviously, you're sparring a Brit, but can you notice that difference? Yeah, like literally.
One time I went into the top rank gym, and there's just a lot of heavyweights, you know what I'm saying, different type of heavyweights, but there's a lot of heavyweights, but this was in Vegas at the time. So in Vegas there's a lot of heavyweights that you can spar, a lot of people around, you know. Like boxing in America is not completely different, but it has a different vibe.
Yeah, I've been in the top rank gym. The heat in there as well probably makes sparring 10 times more intense.
It's the same, yeah, definitely. But it was a good experience. I know a lot of people train there, so it was good to be there, to see the place and just to be there, yeah.
In Vegas, who were you training alongside? Obviously, you mentioned the top rank gym. Did you go to any of the other gyms and meet any other top fighters out there?
No, actually, I just stayed within the camp, and obviously in my camp where I was you had Ryan Garcia, Frank Martin. Obviously, Frank Martin had a fight during the time that I was there. Obviously, Ryan Garcia was working with Derek James and then Spence, and so it was just the team, Derek James' team. I was around that.
In terms of Anthony Joshua, what advice did he give you in terms of sort of you heading into the early stages of your career? Because he obviously built himself up through the York Hall shows to getting to the level he got to.
He literally just said, just carry on doing what you're doing, you're on the right track. And if you carry on doing what you're doing, you're going to get to what level you're supposed to get to. So just stay focused and remain doing what you're doing.
Does his journey inspire you, though, a fellow Londoner who got to that level?
Oh, definitely. I call him the pioneer, man, because he literally changed the heavyweight division for us, like especially everyone coming from where he comes from. You know what I'm saying? So what he did was something special. So we look at him as a real OG, big dog. You know what I'm saying? The real pioneer. And he's very inspirational. What he's done, you know, not many people can do what he's done. So you got to take your hats off for him. So.
And in terms of a potential fight with Wilder, if they meet, how do you see that going?
Just like I said, an aggressive AJ that comes forward, tight guard, will give Wilder problems, and he will shock people.
And just on the domestic scene itself, do you think that, you know, if you don't get the fights against these domestic names, you might look at sort of guys sort of, you know, stateside or European level guys, because those fights, I guess, will always be there?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of guys in Europe that can fight, especially a few Italians. I see, like the #1 Italian champion. I've seen, like even stateside, I'll fight anyone at the right time. Like, if anyone's ready to fight, I'll fight them, no matter where they're from.
And in terms of in this country, who's the biggest name, or what's that biggest fight? We've obviously seen the Frazer Clarke back and forth. Is that, would you say, the biggest fight out there for you?
At the moment, at this point of my career, that's the biggest fight. Until we see what goes on, we'll see how I get on in my career, and we'll see what the big fights come on after.
And are you and Frazer Clarke cool, or is there this beef? It seems online there's a beef building, but is that just something that needs to be settled, or in person are you cool with each other?
Do you know what? Me and him have no issues when we see each other, but we do taunt each other when we see each other. You know what I'm saying? But it's more like
competitive.
Yeah, it is competitive. That's what it is. It's very competitive. And the fact that he said that, I'm a competitive person, so you know what I'm saying? I need to beat him. There's no other way.
Dave Allen, what do you think of that fight?
So, like I said, it was very unfortunate for Frazer, as Dave Allen was making excuses, and it caused a little bit of issues here and there. As we know, Dave Allen's a game operator, and he's been around, so he knows what to do. He knows how to get the referee on his side and stuff like that. So Frazer Clarke had to do what he had to do, you know, and he got the win how he got the win, so ain't no problem, on to the next.
Based on that performance, has that given you more confidence in a fight with Frazer Clarke?
Every performance gives me confidence, you know, and I know I can do better than him, and I know I'll do better with him in the ring, across the ring from me.
Obviously, we saw that sort of face-off thing you did on Sky a couple of months ago. It's built the hype for that fight. Do you think that fight happens sooner rather than later?
I think so. When it makes sense, it will happen, and I think it will happen soon.
On that though, would it make sense potentially for you to maybe get in there with someone like Dave Allen and show what you can do against an opponent like that? Possibly.
You never know. Let's see if he's maybe still boxing, or if he's doing something else, or you just never know. You know, just time will tell. Yeah.
Another fight I'm sure you have your eye on is Wardley and Adelaide. Obviously, they kicked off at the Fury and Garni press conference. What do you make of that fight, though?
Do you know what? I know both of them, and that is a great fight. For me personally, both big hitters, you know, very athletic boxers, you know, and I feel like that fight is not going to go the distance. Definitely going to be a KO, and I don't know the prediction, but I know it's definitely going to be a KO win for one of them.
And just finally, Joyce against Zhang this weekend, a rematch. What does Joyce have to do to win that?
It's very difficult, because Zhang is very he's strong, he's big, technically sound. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe a little bit of head movement, get out of the way of certain shots, because he was getting hit too clean. And I guess when you're getting hit too clean consistently, you can get cut, you can get bruised, and the fight will get stopped, as we saw last time. So maybe a little bit of head movement, and just carry on pressuring him with a little bit of head movement, just avoiding certain shots, tighter guard. I think he'll be a bit safe, just if he protects himself a bit more.
Jeamie, thanks for talking to us ahead of your return next week. Do we have an opponent announced yet?
We will be announcing him soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to that. Jeamie, thanks for your time.
Thank you.